Welcome to the Viral Cash Flow Secrets Podcast, your roadmap to unlocking viral trends and maximizing online profits. Join hosts Jenny Jackson, Lorraine Kamisha, and Jessica Jospix Digital from the Viral Profits Academy membership for actionable strategies on leveraging digital trends. It's time to monetize your clicks.
All right. I know. So welcome again to another episode of the Viral Cash Flow Podcast, where we help you decode viral trends and transform online buzz into cash flow. Tonight we have Lorraine Kamisha, Jessica Jospix Digital, and myself, Jenny Jackson. And we're your Viral Profits Academy. We teach entrepreneurs to go viral and social media. In this 30-minute episode, or probably 15-minute episode, I should say, we'll explore the latest viral topics. There is no special guest tonight, but we will be weighing in on topics and provide actionable strategies for capitalizing on digital trends to help you go viral and monetize. So we're going to kick off tonight's topic on Amanda Seales. Lorraine, I'm going to kick it over to you to give some background, and then if you'll toss it back to me and then Jessica, we can have some good dialogue.
Maybe we should start with Jenny, because Jenny has had a very vocal thought on this whole thing.
Yes, I have lots of thoughts on this whole thing. So to give you some background, Amanda Seales has went on Club Shay Shay recently. We saw the Club Shay Shay effect with Cat Williams and Monique. And I believe Amanda Seales believed going on Club Shay Shay would give her the same effect, and it did not. So here's my perspective, and then let's get into this dialogue. So Amanda is multi-talented. She is a comedian. She's an actress. She has filled in for Flowetry. She is well-rounded in all these talents. Above all else, she's a critical thinker. She gives a lot of social commentary. She is what I consider to be intelligent. She holds a master's from Columbia University in African American Studies, and she's a critical voice that we need for this generation. However, here's the thing, and I've said this time and time again. When someone is highly intelligent or they have all these gifts, they don't always relate well to other people. That's just the reality of it. We've seen it with Einstein. Einstein was actually thought to be mentally ill by his grade school teachers because he asked so many questions. And honestly, it can be seen as annoyance. I brand myself on my lifestyle page as a neurodiverse squad. I have two children that are neurodiverse on opposite ends of the spectrum. One is very rigid and like structure and rules and is profoundly autistic, is what we would say in our community. The other is highly talented, well-rounded, really reminds me of Amanda. She is a talker. And so I have this, kind of presumption that a lot of us millennials, old millennials or Gen Xers who were labeled as gifted probably are neurodivergent.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
They've said
There's
that.
no question. There's no question in my mind. Absolutely. I agree with that, Lorraine. I think that we fell into a bucket and folks didn't know what to do with us. And so we became academically gifted. However, what I talk about with my peers is they always talk about how much potential we had, but there was never really a practical plan for where we would land in life. So I go on and do these great things. And in reality, you're just living, a normal life like a lot of people. And what that means that you have to be able to have emotional intelligence. You have to be able to have social intuitiveness, right? Be able to relate to other people. And that does not always happen with this community.
Okay, so I want to go through and talk a little bit about what neurodivergent is, because I feel like we say these things, and I always, whenever there's a medical term, I always want to break it down for people that may not know. So neurodivergent is a non-medical term that describes people whose brains develop or work differently for some reason. So this means the person has different strengths and struggles from people whose brains develop or work more typically. And I always say typically because a lot of the studies and things to that effect we know weren't done on people that look like us. So I always want to make sure that I define what these things mean and what these words mean, right? And so I'm gonna hand it back to you, but I wanted to make sure we stop there and define it.
And so it's a spectrum, guys, right? And so you could have folks that are on one end where, again, they are profoundly autistic, which I think people are used to seeing, which is there are probably some sensory issues. There may be some nonverbal issues. There could be, it's visibly apparent, right, that something is different about the individual. Then you have the completely opposite end of the spectrum where folks maybe are hyperverbal, hyper intelligent. We saw that with some of the terminology in the past about autistic folks. And it just looks completely different than those who maybe present quote unquote autistically. Now, what I will say is that I'm happy is that there is an actually autistic community. You can tag it, check it out on all social media platforms. These are the folks that were the test dummies, right? And I say dummies because I can't think of another term, but these were the folks that came up and they probably had ABA therapy and all these therapies that their parents and caregivers gave them. And now they're old enough to say, okay, yes. And so now they are the experts. That's my belief. They are the experts in this community. I am a caregiver, right? I do not have a formal autistic diagnosis. I do not have a formal diagnosis that says I'm neurodivergent. However, I have 2 children that are on the spectrum, and so that tells me something. There are a lot of caregivers and parents that have strong opinions about Amanda. And I'll add this, and then I'm going to pause to get your reaction, Jessica. What we see in this community, because not only is there a layer of autism, but now you're adding a layer of race and gender as Black women. And even those who are not Black women, right, within the community, they self-diagnose. And what that means is that they were probably denied a diagnosis, or they were probably told something else as they were younger. Maybe they were said that they had anxiety issues or something else, but they knew that they were different. And so that's where this whole conversation comes in on whether Amanda is truly autistic, neurodivergent or not.
Got it. I do want to play just a little snippet of it. And so I went ahead and grabbed it. So let's go ahead and just play a little snippet of it.
Was diagnosed as someone who has autism spectrum disorder, which is very difficult to identify in Black women because of racism.
So what exactly is autism spectrum? Because I hear people say you're on the spectrum.
It used to be called Asperger's.
Okay.
But that is no longer what it's called because to my knowledge, Asperger was a Nazi.
Okay.
But what it simply means is that your brain functions in a different way. So you're neurodivergent. And you also have certain tendencies that are considered outside of what the neurotypical way of things is.
Okay.
And a lot of times that can have you present in a manner that people misrepresent.
Okay. Okay.
Which is the story of my life.
Okay. But you can be brilliant without being autistic, though, right?
Hell yeah. Okay. 1000%. Okay. Absolutely.
But just
because I'm both. But I'm gifted and autistic.
Yes, but Amanda, sometimes, just because you have a special gift, that doesn't mean that, you have a spectrum or you have just because you see things differently, it doesn't mean that you're on the spectrum or you.
This isn't related to simply how I see things. It's related to how my brain functions.
Yes. But just because your brain functions differently from, say, mine.
Yes.
So you feel just because your brain functions differently that's what caused it, or there's a clinical diagnosis that
there are clinical diagnoses
for you?
Yes, there are clinical diagnoses for autism. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
When you take the tests, when you take the test, you're like, hold up, I've been thinking my whole life that this was a problem. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that I have to doodle, I have to draw all the time. I have to be doing things all the time to be stimulated. It's literally called stimming. Mr. Wright was like,
okay, so I'm gonna leave it there so we don't get too much of a copyright. But because Lorraine and I haven't seen it, we got a little snippet of it.
Yeah, and so that's been a large conversation because it does feel very much like Shannon's trying to negate the issue, right? Again, I see this time and time again. All these new diagnoses. We didn't have this back in the day. Hell yeah, you did, because your uncle, your aunt, your mom was autistic, and you said that they were just different or awkward or socially awkward, and they would grow out of it. And guess what? They were.
In Soul Food, I remember somebody, talked about how the uncle in Soul Food that never came down the stairs and hadn't spoke since 1963 probably was autistic.
Absolutely. And so that, I come from traditional parents, right? Traditionalist in terms of generation. I remember my mentor in Greensboro saying, don't let them label your child. Well, guess what? If he doesn't get a diagnosis, he doesn't get services.
Right.
So that's the reality of it. The last thing I'm going to add is that 2 things can be true. You can be brilliant, you can be neurodivergent and have all these special gifts. You can also be insufferable. So yes, it is an issue of Amanda versus everyone. Amanda has had an issue with Issa Rae not protecting her. She had an issue with Floetry, Marsha Ambrosia. She said she felt like Marsha forced out of the group when she replaced one of the members. And so she always appears or presents to be the victim in a lot of situations, even the real. It didn't feel good for her, right? And so there's a way that you can talk about these things in your experiences without placing blame. And I think that's what we see a lot with Amanda.
So I guess we do agree, because that's kind of where I was coming from. I was coming from a place of, girl, if you don't stop, you're going to have a heart attack. And is it really worth you having a heart attack and stressing yourself out over some big, like, you're allowing them to have a level of control over your reaction all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Stop talking. Like it's almost, she probably physically can't. She cannot stop reacting and responding.
Yeah, which makes sense, right?
Correct.
To the type of content that she creates, because I almost felt like the content she creates is because she needs to get the clicks, and that's what's getting her to, let's just keep it real. That's what's getting her the engagement. So almost a reaction to wanting that engagement piece, but it's like, girl, is it really worth it for your mental health? Because I'm sure you showing us just a tidbit of what you probably are really going through behind the scenes. And if you don't stop, you are going to seriously cause yourself harm from other people acting the damn fool. It makes no sense to me. I just, anyway.
Yeah, we don't really have these conversations about like Kanye.
Hello. Brilliant, but also he is different. Let's be real, right?
I mean, the man is walking around in trash bags with his wife half naked, and I mean, but we don't have these conversations. He doesn't get on. If he gets on a Shannon Sharpe show, the conversation is going to be how brilliant he is, what a great, whatever he is, his masterpieces, and da da da. We're not going to be talking about why you are pissing everybody off and how difficult he is, what a diva he is. I
do. I believe he drove Kim K crazy as heck. Sure of it.
She wasn't ready.
So but I'm a different human, right? I'm gonna look at the whole thing like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. And here's the other thing. I'm not far removed from the Amanda circle. I've seen so many posts from friends of friends who've said, I met her and she was horrible.
Right.
To interact with. Everybody lying.
Did you see that post, that college student that was like, she cussed me every which way out, and I was only like 20, and I just asked her a question. And that's what I'm saying. It's that combativeness of people that,
it's a defense
mechanism. I don't know if she can control it or not. So I'm not going to say, because I don't know her. I don't know. I'm not living in her body, so I'm not going to say that. What I will say, though, is as a professional, if you're going to be in this space,
right,
you had better conduct yourself in a way so you can stay in this space, because to her point, people are not going to want to work with her. She's not going to be able to get as far as she could have gotten. There's a thin line between, and maybe it ain't a thin line. Maybe it's a very, very clear line of, girl, if you want to get somewhere, you're going to have to figure it out. But you keep lashing out at your audience and people that love you and that hired you, let's keep it real, to come and be at the fraternity, and you get lashing out.
Yeah. So and that's one of probably 5 or 6 I've seen in the past week where I met Amanda on a train platform in New York, and I was so excited and went to say hi, and I was really surprised at how she treated me. Or I've worked with her. She's hired me, and I will never work for her again. I've seen those two also.
She's giving me what's that lady name to save my life? Ivana. Ayana?
Yes, Ayana Levinson. Perfect analogy. So Ayana talks about how she was so combative and against the world and aggressive that when she was truly the victim in one situation, no one believed her because of who she had been previously in all her previous experiences. Mm-hmm. So that also takes me back to a perspective that, yes, I do believe Amanda may be the problem 10 times out of, 9 times out of 10. However, I don't think she's always the problem. I think that because she's already wearing this label, that it's easy to shift that she's problematic. And so it's going to be hard to tell in that gray space, right? And so that's the unfortunate thing. But
lost her. I did see and meet Ayanna Vanzant, and I gotta say, she was mean as green. Okay, she was mean.
Girl, no, we're not about to do this.
She was mean and stank, and I was just like, but I thought you healed people's life. I'm all thinking she's gonna be like, oh yes, my child. You know, what she call it, beloved. Have a seat here. Let me talk to you.
Oh, girl, she always talking mess on the show.
She came at me, boy, with a fire. And I'm just like, because I was like, oh, can I get a picture? She fired back. And I am not like, if a celebrity says no, I'm fine with that. You're a human like I'm a human. I don't be all up on you like, hey, oh my God. I'm like, hey, can we? And if we can, we cool, right? I'm not going to not ask you the question. So I asked her, and she was just like, how I just came off and da-da-da-da, and all these people. I was like, oh, I would never watch another one of your shows. Whatever you were on, I will make sure I never put a view on anything. And that was years ago. And I remember it like it was yesterday, how hurt I felt. Like, dang.
Yeah. And that pressure must be crazy. Like, what if you're going through a bad day? Like, yesterday I was going through a complete horrible day, and you're just walking around trying to get your tags.
Right.
Birthday or something. Somebody walks up, they're like, hey, can I have a picture? And then you're like, okay, no, not right now. And then dozens of more walk up, and you just like always have that responsibility of just
Lorraine, where you're going, you better get ready, sis.
I'm definitely cognizant of that. But I already know I ain't perfect either. I pray and I put out into the atmosphere that I'm gonna be the most positive person.
I think you will be.
That I need to be at the time, because I never want to bring anybody's day down or make them feel no type of way. But I'm not gonna lie, it's hard sometimes. It's hard.
And it's difficult. And like I said, I would have been okay with if she had said, you know what, not right now. I totally would have been like, oh, okay, cool.
Right.
It was the lash out that I only asked for a picture, and you just no. So I mean, I think I think you actually will be okay, because you're gonna remember what it was like to be on that other end and see someone, and be like, I get it, I get it, or find a way to like divert, but in a nice way, in a professional way, in a way that doesn't make the person feel like, dang, this small. It was hurtful. It's very hurtful to see this person that you have this idea of what you think they are, and they let you down. I've met several celebrities. I'm like, dang, I wish I didn't meet them. I just wish I never met them.
That brings up another topic, though, because social media, right? I always see people say, I loved, celebrities before social media, because now they're human, right? And you see who they really are.
You see who they really are, and you look at them, and you're like, dang, who's one person? There's one person that I looked at, and I think Amanda Seales is absolutely one of them. I don't think this is like skewed my view of her too much, because I kind of had already seen it, so, don't mess with that chick like that. She ain't with it. So I already kind of seen that in some of her content. I can kind of tell in interviews and content whether or not I'm like, oh yeah, if I won't be, I'm good. But other folks, it is a surprise. I think when Will Smith had the host Will Smith slap, that was a huge one. Like, wow. Oh,
he's human. I ride to him to the end of time. I don't care, because he's been squeaky clean up until that.
That man has been squeaky clean. Be quiet.
Well, right. I'm with you, Lorraine, because I do think there's some stuff that's really going on behind the scenes. However, he's presented well with PR and the press, and he's kind of the golden boy.
I will give him that. He is definitely a professional.
He's professional. So I mean, Amanda Seales, take a page out of Will Smith's book. We know he had the slap part, but I mean, one incident out of several, and then everybody you talk to really does say, "I've met him. Cool.
Yes.
Cool."
Yes.
Right.
It reminds me of the Beyonce effect. People don't like you to be too perfect. They just don't. They're waiting on your downfall. It's like, oh, I knew, you know, and it just happens. It's happened so much in life. But
Right.
that's just the reality of it. Like,
Right.
people
Shannon Sharp, I want to say before we end, because I know we went over time a bit, but I do want to say Shannon Sharp had bruh.
He ain't Oprah. He's not a Gail. He's not a Barbara.
Not at all.
I mean, we've been knew this. Like we've been and to her too. Let's talk about the digital pieces of this. She knew whose show she was going on. Let's keep it real, sis. Come on. You know, you knew whose show you were going on. And him, as far as like his questions and things, I'm sure somebody's giving him his questions. He's not necessarily prepping himself. So he's using whatever he has. And I think his question was really genuine. Like, well, I don't know. You know, if people are like that and they really are, I'm going to use this for lack of better words, ignorant, then, I mean, you know, is it your place to try to educate them? Or do you just go, we're on TV right now, bro. We're on.
We saw it because she did a couple of, like, she just knew, right? Like, he cannot match her discourse. He just can't.
Oh yeah, did you see the clip where he was like, yeah, your mom is white. She was like, my mom is not white. Well, your dad is like, no, my dad ain't white. Like, I'm not mixed.
Ignorance. No, I see it. From the island, right? But
is her mom Jamaican or something?
Yes, like from the Caribbean, like completely not white.
Why are you getting at this woman?
And I'm just gonna say it, and y'all will have to edit it. But he was very much given house Negro. I'm sorry, like it just.
Yeah. You said it. Now we on these YouTube streets now.
You remember when Kat said that, was like, come on now, like, when has anybody looked at your type with your facial features and been like, that's handsome, you know? And it was.
He said that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And
he didn't do anything.
He didn't even do it right
to Amanda Seales. Like he just kind of was like, and took another drink and kind of did like that. He didn't say nothing to Kat. Kat was all over him. Kat threw so much shade on him.
Yep.
But I think I don't know if he cares. Let's keep it real. I don't think that he cares as long as he gets the views and the clicks. I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares if he looks crazy. No, he like shh. Because I mean, I'm sure she went on the show knowing it was going to be something was going to come from it, right? But it helps her career. Like we talk about viral stuff here all the time. That's what our podcast is all about. So in that aspect, I mean, they got people
she went looking for. I really believe that's what she went looking for.
She got what she was looking for. She absolutely got what she was looking for. She may not have got, she wasn't expecting what she was going to get, but I definitely think she got what she was looking for. He needs support as a host, but I guess it doesn't matter at this point. I mean, he's been doing it for such a long time, and he used to do it on a really big scale. And I guess technically he's doing it on a big scale now with YouTube. What I saw was interesting is YouTube took credit almost for like his viral video. They were like, yeah. And on YouTube, we just had Shannon Sharp, whose viral video with Cat Williams went viral on our platform. And it's like, well,
but you said that, Jessica, you said that you thought that maybe he didn't own his content, like his podcast, right?
Oh,
like,
Lorraine said it too.
Yeah. Like
Lorraine was like,
no, it's not giving that to me.
It's not.
It's not.
And when we did some deep dives, what was that, between us yesterday, Jessica, and we went and looked at his channel, and we saw those different. It's not just one show. I'm not really a follower of his, so I didn't know that piece, but he's got several little side channels and stuff like that. So those may be ones that he have ownership over.
Right.
But I don't know that he has ownership over this one. It doesn't give that feel when they start talking about the profit part of it.
I agree.
And I was talking about this. I posted about it yesterday. I feel like they're moving into digital 360 deals, right? The old school record deals where they would come and get an artist and then take their music. Here's $1,000. Here's $1,000, which was really a loan from the actual amount that they would have to sell against. It's like they're getting podcast platforms and giving it to these 90s folk that have, let's keep it real. Most of these folks don't know no digital stuff. They just like, oh, I can have a podcast and I can talk. Okay, cool. And they go and do it. And they're like, yeah, we're going to produce it. We're going to do everything for you. But they have no insight of the back end. And they missing out on all this money because they're taking it all.
Right.
And giving them a $500 per episode or something crazy.
I mean, it could be a strategic partnership because, whereas I'm not the editor, that's Jessica, and I'm not the product specialist, that's Jenny. I do bring something to the table and vice versa. So hopefully enough, Shannon Sharpe has been on network TV long enough to understand what a contract look like.
But the way he was talking.
Right. That's Jessica. Okay, you're right. Like, hopefully he's got a good manager. Let's say that, because he was not given that at all.
Somebody making some money. That's
somebody on his team can read properly. And
oh, girl.
Jessica's not even laughing, but yeah.
I'm gonna do funny Marco. All right, so
one last comment. Soleil has a really good point.
Yeah, let's go to her
She
comment.
thinks that Amanda went on Shannon Sharpe's show because she thought she could outmaneuver him intellectually. And
that was a given. Valid. She did.
That's exactly what she did.
And that's the dangerous part, though, because if you don't have anything but real ignorance to give me, there's no depth in the conversation that we're about to have. The only thing you can do is spill tea, give drama, and misinterpret everything I say. I mean, she could outmaneuver him intellectually.
I would like to see how much money she made from that. That's what I want to see. I want to see how much money these folks are making by going on his podcast and being a part of the podcast. Because I would guess that someone went to her website and purchased her shirts or merch or something that she has. But yeah, that would be really interesting. So if anybody knows Amanda Seales or knows her team or anything and they want to reach out, since it seems like she wants to be on folks' podcasts, we would love to have her on here and talk a little bit about monetization. We don't want to have an intellectual conversation. I am sure I cannot match you.
Well, we talked a little about Will Smith earlier. Okay, so I noted I found Will Smith on TikTok right before the slap situation happened. And his videos were getting, he's Will Smith, so he's getting 2 million, 5 million, 8 million. After that slap, though, those videos, 27 million, 38 million, 50 million, 13, 18, 22 million. So I think, is there a lineup that is published with Shannon Sharpe that we can just kind of compare what their social media channels look like before and then after?
He did not do one for Amanda. He did one for Kat, and I think I saw one for Monique. He has not put one out for Amanda. I would like to see what those streams
because normally, like the Today Show and the Letterman's and stuff like that, you can literally go to their website and it'll say, okay, this is the lineup, this date, this date, this date. I don't know if podcasters do that or not.
What I do find interesting, I went to Amanda's Instagram. So here's the other thing. I do think she's very strategic. She may have lost folks, right? But I guarantee you she gained a group of folks that can relate to who she is. They're not likable. They have a hard time making friends. She's actually promoting a tour. It's called the Unlikable Tour.
Right. And that's it. That's it. So that when we talk about it like, oh, she's unprofessional and she's just, messing up her audience or whether actually that's kind of fine tuning your audience. We talked about a little bit about fine tuning our friends list and dumping people out and stuff like that. That's one of the tactics that I used to use. I used to always, throw out some unpopular opinion, and when the sideways stuff happened, I would just block because what are we here for? If my thing was work smarter, not harder, and if I say, hey, if you think hiring a cleaning service makes me a fake woman, then I'll be fake then. And you on there arguing about it, and my whole brand is work smarter, not harder. Then we ain't got nothing to talk about. So bye.
Absolutely.
So correct. Okay, so let's break that down. I think that the Shannon Sharpe was very strategic, unlikable to work, perfect. Like whoever her digital strategist person, that
Perfect. They landed it. They
you
nailed
were
it.
on it. You were on it.
They nailed
And
it.
those are people I want to talk to. I want to talk to who actually put this strategy together, because you know the people ain't doing it. This people behind the people is doing it.
It's that's what they over there trying to work on with me right now. Like,
right.
Where can we pull some of your audience at? Where's your story at? What aligns with what you have going on?
Where do we put you? As far as her being mean to people when she is out, I would tell her to work on that. And that has a lot to, I think, back to what Jenny said, that Ayana Vincent said, that she was just so combative with everyone because she was herself going through some stuff. You know, you got to figure out what you need to do. Take your deep breaths or whatever it is you need to do when you're out in public. Or make sure you have security around. I don't know. Whatever it is you feel like you need to do. I'm not a celebrity. I don't know. But you can't keep going there. You know, you got to protect your ego.
Right.
I completely agree. And then she, you know, again, final thought I'll just say, I do think, I don't know if she lacks self-awareness or she just doesn't care. Because there's some shit you just don't care about, right? Folks don't like you. Okay. Like, do I really want to be liked by you?
So, I don't care. I'm making my money. So
correct.
People that's gonna show up for me are gonna show up for me. And I think you can lie to yourself and tell yourself that anybody that's gonna ride for me will really ride for me. Certain times people are gonna get tired of riding for you if you always riding them.
If you ostracize them.
I have cousins like that. Like, sis, I can't keep riding with you, and every time I come, you shooting at me and other folks. Like, I can't keep putting myself in the crossfire here of both of y'all when I'm trying to help you out. You have to heal yourself, and you have to then know that you're worthy, you're, you know, value, all the other things, and heal yourself so you can move forward, and you don't have this knee-jerk reaction every time somebody says one little thing at you. You're ready to jump down their throat, and why you just say that? It's like, oh yeah, no. So anyway, like I said, I'm very passionate about that because I feel like I have family members that are just like that. And I'm like,
that's funny. Good topic. Hot topic. Trending all week.
You guys use this in your content. Use it. Amanda Seales. What do you think? It's gonna come down, but still a really great topic to talk about and have in your content mix and in your content library, because I'm pretty sure she'll come up again.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Her name is absolutely a keyword, so she'll come up again. All right.
So I'll take us out, guys. So thank you again for tuning into the Viral Cash Flow podcast. Remember to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Keep riding the wave and turning your clicks into cash, and we will see you next week. Bye.